Cars are getting repossessed. People can't feed their kids. It's terrible. They need to fix it.
Florida's unemployment agency is shedding light on a problem that kept thousands of people from getting their federal unemployment benefits.
This is an issue we told you about Monday. 8 on Your Side investigative reporter Victoria Price joining us now live in the Temp News Center with this update.
So, Keith, the state is trying to say that the group of people left off its payment files are just people who tried to change the dates on their claims. But it's really hard to tell if this is an explanation or simply an excuse, because there are plenty of people who did not do that and say they still are not getting the money they should be.
So this is going to be a long haul for me. And
Barbara Rausch wants answers, not excuses. And more importantly, she wants her money.
you know, it's easy to say it's a computer glitch. Okay, well, fix it.
The Gulfport mom's federal unemployment benefits suddenly stopped after May 19th. Without that $600 a week, money is tight, and she's far from the first person 8 on Your Side has met in the same predicament.
So I am at a loss for what's wrong here.
And it's really strange that we're all the same date we've been cut off. It doesn't, something is not right.
That's why 8 on Your Side went after the Department of Economic Opportunity to find out what went wrong. A spokesperson tells us that, quote, technology concerns excluded people from the information it sends to the federal government for those payments. The DEO claims the mistake only impacted people who requested their claims be backdated, but that doesn't explain what happened to Barbara Rausch.
You're saying you never filled that out?
I never filled that out. Never. No, I didn't even know it was out there, to be honest. I thought you had to contact somebody to do that.
And we're talking about thousands of people in this situation right now.
Orlando State Rep Anna Escamani compiled a list of more than 8,500 people whose federal funds stopped after May 19th without warning. She calls it remarkable that the DEO even admitted fault, but like us, has reason to believe this isn't the full story.
Somebody did not backdate their claim and they have claimed their weeks and they still have not received their money. What's wrong? And they can't answer that.
Right. And that is such a pattern, is you have Floridians that are doing everything they're told to do, and yet money is still not being released to them.
Now, when I kept pressing the DEO, I was also told that some people might not be claiming their benefits for a specific week, therefore they're not getting paid. And yes, we do know there are some people who have not been able to claim those weeks because the website is so unreliable, but from what we can tell, there's no way that that could be the overriding culprit.
And you mentioned the 8,500 names sent to the DEO. Did you find a common thread there? What should these people do?
Well, other than not getting those federal funds since mid-May, no, there really was not any sort of commonality with these people. Obviously, we are going to keep looking into this. But for now, there's really nothing for these people to do besides wait as the DEO works to get those payments out.
And the DEO says they're getting the payments out, right?
It says they're working toward it. They didn't give a timeline, but they said they are working.
I heard 5 days for some of these claimants, within 5 days. So that we'll follow up and see if that actually happens.
I think in general, yes, but with the specific situation, since there was that discrepancy getting the information to the federal government, it's hard to tell.
All right, Victoria Price live in the News Center.